Anyway, I want to do a follow-up on what I was trying to explain in David Robinson's question and answer session this morning. I tried to explain, remember, when you reply, you can't attach a photo or a screen grab. So I explained about the ravine of interest, and I'll get to that. But first of all, at least one person, DJ Moore, was asking about the second well, and it opened up a whole bunch of confusion because that person, DJ Moore, pictured that, like, this is his first well. Let's see, this is the first well. Where was the second well? Okay, and then David Robinson started talking about this well is more than big enough for Daniel to have been put down, and this other well and the other thing all over. However, what DJ Moore and most people didn't realize is that actually the first well is and I'm not going to pinpoint it exactly, but Daniel Robinson left from Tempe and went to the first well, somewhere in here, Valdera, something like that. That doesn't matter, but it's somewhere in here, and he went to the first well early in the morning and took pictures of his logbooks, stuff like that. And then he continued on, still quite early. He got gas, and then continued on up to the second well, the actual Robinson well. Okay, so when David was answering, he thought the guy was talking about the different wells in the area. Okay, but this is the Robinson well with the orange tank. That's the Robinson well. There's nothing there but this orange tank. Okay, so that's what caused that confusion. Is that he thought the guy was asking about the different wells in the area. Like this is a tire well. There's a tire well, in which they removed that tire and looked down in, had him lower camera down in, stuff like that. So that's the tire well. That's what caused confusion about well 1 or well 2. Actually, the first well is the one over in Phoenix, Verado, where he stopped, took pictures, and continued on. That's the first well. The Robinson well, where he went missing, is actually the second well. That's where Ken, everyone saw him, and so on and so forth. And he come down here. They followed the tracks, but the tracks went this way. Okay, so that's the Robinson well. Okay. Now, during the question and answer live chat, I didn't know how to get it across because you can't attach a picture. So now I'm going to go over why I think this is ultra important right here. That there's a couple things, two or three things. First of all this area has been worked over. Down the washes, it has been worked over. Even David Robinson went down to the tire well. And so all this area, everybody's been all over Hill and Creation. Okay, so you can rule out, like, he didn't go north right past the well. He didn't go over here and cross over the highway. And he could have went down here, but that's been worked over. Even this one. The one guy worked over this wash. But okay, let me get to the point. Okay, so then there was the theory that I said at the start, to go sideways would be much more difficult. He likely went down the washes. But the thing is, it has been searched. And the other thing is, he wasn't trying to be found, and he wasn't trying to get to civilization. So then you have this area that has not been searched, and it turns out this is, God damn it, I get these pop-ups. So this area really has not been searched, and why is it important? Okay, there's a couple things. Use the Jeep and where everyone was running around, tire well, and then go west. Okay, well this is almost 2 miles. This is almost 2 miles. Even less. Okay, the Jeep was overlooking Wagner Wash. So let me click here and go over to here. Okay, that's 1.75 miles. And so what it does is it puts this, I'll call it a ravine, it puts it in an area that most people wouldn't make it to. That most people are good, you know, maybe 1 mile in the desert. And so for the searchers with their various meetings, most people would not go over here that distance. And so that makes it a prime area that has not been searched. And the other thing is the length. The length and the detail of what's there. That also adds that it hasn't been searched adequately. So the length of it, now I visualize this as ground zero. Otherwise he would have been walking uphill to go over to here. He would have went cross country over here. And these small ravines, you can't lay down, you can't get no shade. And so you keep going, you keep going. Remember, this is only 2 miles, 2 miles. But this offers no real shade or nothing. There's nothing there. Nothing there. And also under these bushes, if you're not in a wash, you can't lay down because stickers, bugs, everything like that. However, the washes are pristine. So you look at this area here, number one, long, a lot of area, and almost 2 miles from the Jeep. So it's not an area that people would go over, would hike over. Okay, now it can be gotten to by roads. Notice this road, which is likely telephone poles, not power lines. But there are dune buggy stuff all over the place. Okay, but look at these trees. Look at these trees, the shade. And so he comes over. It's right in the right zone. That, well, he didn't pack up and he left his backpack in the Jeep. Okay, well that means he wasn't heading out like no hiker to go for 10 miles. And so the 2 miles puts him right in the distance as the sun come up, possibly if it was the next day, or even later that day when the temperatures were getting over 100 degrees, that no person would come into this area and then go back out into here, into hell. No person would do that. So that's why I consider this so important. First of all, it's a border, a demarcation line that blocks off from the Jeep. It blocks off. This is where I drew this box, the area of interest, to the northwest. Well, this blocks it off. And so at first I saw it and I said, well, he's not going to go over there sideways and go up and down this stuff. No, and he didn't. But he did go over sideways and encountered this and would not have continued on. There's a lot of shit in there, including lush trees, for a person to lay down. And as I've mentioned, I've been in a situation where I couldn't go on, and, you know, like an area like this, there was a bush. Yeah, the sand was too hot. I can't do it. I'm not going to die like this. I know what they say. When you lay down to rest, stand back up and keep going. But this area, he definitely, in my opinion, did not cross this area, or nor would he have left it. Not when you're down there with this such a long distance. That right there, that's a huge thing. It's like what I said about the aqueduct, the fence, and I said these interesting areas up here are choke points. You scrub along the fence, you go over the crossing, so that cuts out a vast area. And then if he went over, then you check here, you check there. But no, I tell you, I strongly feel that he did not cross over this, and he wouldn't have left it. So that's it. That's what I was trying to get across. So if I had to pick ground zero, according to the Jeep, according to everyone searching down here, they're running all over here, all over the place, that this is an area of interest. But it turns out, in my opinion, it's very unlikely that he would have left this area. So I would go, okay, he goes over, but he's going slightly downhill, but doesn't realize it. It's almost imperceptible. Not necessarily going uphill, but going sideways and following along, just walking out into the desert. But he likely would have been going uphill. So I would put, okay, exact location of Jeep. He's going like this. He progressively, he doesn't know it, but he is in fact going downhill. It's almost impossible to not do that. So this area here, if I had to do ground zero, in there and not off to the sides, it'll be in here. It'll be in here. Now, should all of this not be searched? Well, of course. But if they like start here and do a clean sweep and really work it over, then that could be ruled out. But that would be an area of interest, you know, right there. And let's see what else. That's about that. That's pretty much it. That's what I was trying to explain in the live chat. But you can't do it. You can't attach pictures. And I said the north-south, I put NS, huge ravine area in a north-south position that blocks off this whole area from here over to here, and it blocks it off. It's very important. And that I also put, if it's been searched a little bit already, go back, search it again. Go back, search it again. That people have to, you know, I mean, there's a lot of shit down there. No normal person, if they're distraught, dying in the desert or whatever, is going to go down here among this and then go out here into a hellscape. And they wouldn't stop here in the hellscape unless the person like literally collapsed. But that's not even 2 miles. That's not even 2 miles. But once they got down into here, there's a lot more down there than what you think there is. And it's a big area. And because it is so big, people tend to avoid the nuts and bolts to actually rule out this area. They'll go along, maybe he's out there, but that's what I think. If I was closer, I'd be right down there.